Welcome once again. This is News Tonight at 10. My name is Patricia Lukoma. Let us delve straight into the bulletin. President Yoweri Museveni has mourned former Koboko District woman MP Margaret Babadiri, describing her as a selfless leader and dedicated servant. Babadiri passed away on the 9th of January 2025 in Kawempe, Kampala, after 25 years of service in Parliament.
Vice President na elak na mawa la nyelo. Oya ko pele pai.
Death has robbed the family of a pillar and indeed the entire nation of a very hardworking citizen, educator, social worker, politician and activist. The late Honorable Margaret Babadiri served diligently for 25 years in Uganda's parliament. The nation shall remain indebted to her for the invaluable contributions and services she rendered during her tenure of service in various committees of parliament and in the plenary. She also served as a gender development officer at National Union of Disabled Persons of Uganda, Nudipu. The late Honorable Margaret Babadiri will be remembered for her resilience. Despite her disability and limitation, she beat all odds to represent the women of Koboko and persons with disability in the Parliament of Uganda. She was a steadfast advocate for the rights of persons with disabilities. She was instrumental in efforts to improve opportunities for disabled individuals in Uganda. Her passing is a significant loss to the nation, particularly to the constituents of Koboko District and the disability community, whom she represented with unwavering commitment. Her consideration and dedicated service will always be cherished. She will be remembered for her love for girl-child education and women emancipation. I call upon all stakeholders to continue the special consideration in the provision of government services to persons with disabilities because they face daunting odds against succeeding in life. They are part of our society, and there is no way we can break off from the vicious cycle of poverty and achieve sustainable livelihoods without reducing the impact of disability and enabling them to participate effectively in the development process. Lord Bishop and dear mourners, the NRM government is committed to total empowerment of women as a necessary synergy for socio-economic transformation of our country. As government, we are grateful to the people of West Nile for the support you have always accorded to us through the democratic processes we have gone through to date. Continue supporting us for the sustainability of all our programs. Finally, as our nation has been privileged to associate and work with such a resourceful person of Babadiri's caliber and vision, she has left a rich legacy as an honest, selfless, hardworking leader, a Pan-Africanist, and an advocate for all. While we mourn the death of the late Honorable Margaret Babadiri, we thank God for the life she shared with us. Our condolences go out to her family, the relatives, the people of West Nile, and the entire nation. May the soul of the late Honorable Margaret Babadiri rest in eternal peace. Lord Bishop, that is the message from His Excellency the President, which is accompanied with 10 million Uganda shillings as his contribution towards the burial arrangements.
Can we clap for the Chief Mourner, ladies and gentlemen? We thank you for the support from the President.
Now, former Member of Parliament, Buyaga County in Kagadi, in Greater Kibale District, Besisira Ignatius has been laid to rest at his ancestral village, Igayaza, in Pachua Sub-County in Kagadi District. The Vice President, Jessica Lopo, represented President Yoweri Museveni at the burial ceremony, attended by the Prime Minister of Uganda, Robina Nabanja, and other high-profile government officials. Let's hear more.
Ignatius Besisira, who served in the 7th and 9th Parliament of Uganda, passed on Sunday last week and was today laid to rest at his ancestral village, Igayaza, in Pachwa Sub-County in Kagadi District. The 68-year-old legislator was granted an official burial by President Yoweri Museveni in honor of his great contribution towards shaping the development of his country, Uganda. The Vice President, Jessica Lopo, represented His Excellency the President at the burial ceremony.
I extend heartfelt sympathies to the bereaved family, the people of Buyaga County, and all Ugandans. My prayers and thoughts are with his family at this trying moment. May the Almighty God grant you the courage and fortitude to go through this moment of loss and sorrow. The death of Honorable Ignatius Besisira has robbed the country of a dedicated servant who followed the NRM's correct ideology of championing the people's legitimate interests. In the NRM, we consider leadership as an opportunity to solve the problems of society, i.e., insecurity, poverty, diseases, etc. Leaders are like social doctors because they are expected to find an effective cure to the challenges of society. Therefore, it is sad that we have lost a loyal cadre and champion of the people's interests.
The Prime Minister of Uganda, Robina Nabanja, who was a close confidant of the late Besisira, described him as a remarkable pillar of Bunyoro and the country at large.
And so mubantu abamanyire Besisira hano mumanyire kurungi omusajja wa manani oba kugamba tukugenda Kampala tumusange hoima hariho abandi agamba tugenda Kampala omusanga bundi bujo so amananu ago niwenyizire nkomutaka owa hano ngonza kusima president abokuba Besisira bwe yarwaire Steven yakanterera esimu ngo muzeyi alemereiro titwamusobole wagenda India ngoza kusima president akatwa sente ezatwaire Besisira India ekyo kwenda mutere na amana kandi mukama yatuyamba yakira yaisa nawe kizire yagaruka mbaye nimbaza nawe hayibuli wiki Besisira abaire munywani mu baba ina ura kantu kona akankwaso nagana banje ekikaro kyaitwe ekyo tikiri kyawuwenka kikaro kya Bunyoro Utazanira bwa Prime Minister. Besisira abayirenga anja ni yange.
Right Honorable Prime Minister, thank you very much for the love to us. Thank you very much for the friendship you have exhibited for 30-something years. You were councillors with him. He was your speaker. Akabosi wawe baite byensingeri viva rohanga yo yatekamo ekizungirizi baite era mpaka ogenze no kurura kuruga enyuma. After
the patio send-off of the son of Bunyoro was attended by ministers, members of parliament and former members of parliament, and also the senior presidential advisor on investment and the son-in-law to the president, Adra Uganda.
Those of you who are young, you are standing on very important ground in the country, here in Kamata and in Pachwa sub-county, because here two very important heads of Balusura. One was called Ireta, and another one I think was called Vikamba from Masindi, and another one called Ruabudongo. They are the only ones who stopped Lugard here from crossing to get reinforcement in cavalry across in Congo. This land produces heroes, and I wanted just to emphasize that. That's why you hear Mzee Sisera is a hero.
Now let's look at our top story, where the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, has expressed gratitude to UNICEF for its significant support to Uganda's education sector over the years, as we hear more in this report.
On behalf of the Minister of Education and Sports, I take this opportunity to welcome you very warmly to Uganda. We now look forward to a continued cordial working relationship with you. During Dr. Munir's time, we launched a project to help curb teenage pregnancies among our young people in this country. We looked forward so much to the impact that program would obviously make, but unfortunately it did not really begin, did not happen. But it's our prayer that UNICEF under you will revisit this and hold hands with us to continue this program. So UNICEF, as a coordinating entity for GPE in Uganda, also a global partnership for education, has supported us in the discussions through the local education group in Uganda as an application for GPE. But that has also been on the shelf for some time. So we are still hopeful that GPE2 will become a reality, and we want to recruit you in the battle for GPE to come alongside us.
I was eagerly, Mama, waiting for this meeting to express our continued commitment. I know the relationship you had with my predecessor, Dr. Munir, and I want to reiterate my support as UNICEF representative to continuing collaboration in the field of education in the Republic of Uganda.
Okay.
I'm also excited, Mama, to arrive at a time where we are actually defining our next period of cooperation with the Republic of Uganda, our next country program development, which thank you to all the colleagues in your ministry who have provided inputs and engaged so far, is in going on the right track to develop our priorities for 2026 to 2030. As you mentioned, the continued work on early learning, nurturing care, parental support, foundation learning, and very importantly, skilling of adolescents and young people, and making the connection between education, learning, skilling, and future employment. As the coordinating agency for GPE, we have supported your ministry in applying for the extension of the deadline for Uganda to meet the triggers for the partnership compact of GPE.
Yes.
And this has been, this extension from December 2024 to December 2025 has been approved.
Oh.
So we have actually time now to move forward.
The Bishop of Karamoja Diocese, Emeritus Right Reverend Joseph Abura, has given his views on amendments of the bail law contrary to banning it. The bishop says the current bail law has bled corruption and facilitated criminality in the country.
The Bishop of Karamoja Diocese Emeritus Joseph Abura says the current bail law has bled corruption and facilitated criminality in the country.
Has attacked even the constitution. It is no more reforming with those who go wrong. It is now like made for those who are the rich and those who have big names in the country. Because the law naturally should cut across everybody. But now, big names are not charged. They can be arrested, but on the way they are released on bail. And when somebody has been released on bail, that is freedom. So bail has become a means of freedom for many. And so the country has bred, has multiplied criminals.
Abura hinted on the selective justice for some crimes, also noting that the bail law has affected purpose of punishment and reformation of criminals.
Are there wrongs that cannot be bailed in this country? As in the bail law undermine the efficacy of the constitution itself. As in the bail law undermine the efficacy of the wrong of the whole constitution in this country. As in the bail law defeated the very essence of punishment and reformation of the wrongdoers.
He advised the judiciary to dispense justice genuinely and further recommended the amendment of the bail law.
Amen. Why can't Uganda amend the bail law other than crucifying the president for doing what he's supposed to do? I hope that he has done this in order to report to those who make laws to amend the laws, the criminal, this bail law.
It should be noted that bail and bond are everyone's right and ably justified by the law. On 31st December 2024, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, while giving his end-of-year address, directed police to stop giving police bond to petty criminals, justifying that it encourages criminality. The president also said that he talked to the Chief Justice to avoid reluctantly giving court bails to suspected criminals on trials. This created mixed reactions in all divides, with many saying that it undermines constitutional principles and threatens rule of law, overthrows constitutional order, and also an attack on human rights.
Now, Miracles Center Cathedral Luwaga lead pastor Robert Kayanja has asked the public to always consider both learning and education in the context of the African culture. Pastor Kayanja was officiating the Miracle Bible College's 28th graduation ceremony held at Miracle Center Cathedral, where over 1,000 graduated with certificates, diplomas, and degrees in different divinity doctrines.
The Patron Miracle Center Cathedral Lubaga Pastor Robert Kayanja initiated Miracle Bible College to empower people with the skills of understanding the Bible. Miracle Bible College provides practical ministry and literacy skills of the Bible, as well as theological skills.
To present those that have successfully completed their bachelor's degree in theology of the Life Christian University.
Students learn about the Bible in its original context and how to interpret and communicate its message. They also learn about Christian discipleship and how to live out their calling from God.
We have embarked on a literacy campaign. It comes from the grassroots, those who cannot read and write, because that's where you start fighting so that people can be knowledgeable. So we are grateful. People who couldn't write, couldn't read, now they can. They can even express themselves in English and other languages. And then we give people certificates of studying for 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years. And then they do a diploma. And then they start doing university.
Miracle Bible College also partners with the Life Christian University of Florida to train Christian discipleship. The college's 20th graduation edition saw over 1,000 students attain certificate, diploma, and degree doctrines.
I joined the literacy school in 2024. I didn't know how to speak English fluently, and I had a challenge in communication.
Pastor Kayanja was overwhelmed by the fact that Ugandans prefer education to learning.
As I put emphasis that the greatest mistake humans have ever done was to put education ahead of learning. And yet Africa was built and galvanized based on learning. People were just learning how to make windows, how to lay bricks, how to... Much of the people who are supporting the economy, what we call the informal sector, is based on learning. But now these days we are looking for qualifications. If you don't have these qualifications, if you don't have this degree, this, that, you're not there. And yet people who know how to do things have been relegated.
Kayanja says getting academic documents and credentials is good, but that it would make more sense if education and learning are both considered equally.
We need to consider more learning than education. The academics are good, but the academics must recognize. And when I say recognize, let's find someone who has come out with an invention and be academically rewarded. Like the gentleman who came up, of course he was using education and everything he had, but people who have been sustaining our people for years before even the colonialists came, how did they survive? How did they develop medicine to fight malaria? All those things, if the academics can recognize people who are doing unique things in their local setting, it will be such a surge of, even Myoga will make sense. Because people will talk about it as though it's just something that's going to get you out of poverty. But it's a way of life. It's work. Can we reward work? And work can't only be academic. It has also to be people who have learned.
Ivan Juko for UBC.
Thank you very much there, Ivan Juko. Now, State Minister for Energy and Mineral Development, Okasai Opolot, has issued and asked contractors to use official channels when providing services to the public. This caution comes amidst allegations of robbery and theft by contractors and subcontractors who claim to have been targeted by masqueraders.
Ugandan contractors Alan David Onapa and Kakande John have fallen victim to a scam involving Steam Investments Limited, a company claiming ties to the First Family and General Salimu Salim.
Of course, they have purportedly used the names of several people in government to help them get away with this. Even when you report to court or police, somehow you find people are getting bond. So they have always used diversionary means and ways to scare people.
Saba kiba kisoboka president waffe omulungi atuyambe balina kye bayita bulleeta buli omu nze ne bulleeta sibitegeera kati buli omu abatya buli omu amanyi nti bakolagana ne president.
The contractors were hired to supply construction materials for the Uganda Electricity Transmission Company Limited UECTL project, but after investing millions, they haven't received payment. Aaron David Onapa lost nearly 300 million shillings and all his assets, including a car, were threatened to drop the case he had filed against Steam Investment Limited, where Kakande John invested over 950 million shillings but hasn't seen returns, yet they were promised to be cleared after a certain period of time.
I'm not an isolated case. There are several other 4, 5, 6 companies that were also duped and defrauded in the same style I was.
Both contractors are now appealing to the government for help to recover their money.
My prayer is they pay me the full value of goods, they pay me for the damages I've suffered, and the loan interest.
1.150 zinateekamu era abasajja abo ne bakolera bulungi omulimu gwabwe nga tukkaanya ne Mr. Arthur gwe nali manyi nga director.
State Minister for Energy and Mineral Development, Okasai Oplot, has cautioned contractors to use the right channels when working on government projects. He advised them to always have clear terms and conditions before accepting work and to be conscious when dealing with sensitive matters.
Much later, after we had paid Steam, little did we know that Steam had subcontracted the completion of the houses to Rise and Shine Company. Now the case of Rise and Shine should be taken as a case between Steam and Rise and Shine, and the ministry or UETCL has no role to play.
Opolota also asked Steam Limited to find ways to work with their recruiters. He emphasized the importance of transparency and accountability in government projects, advising contractors to always have clear terms and conditions before accepting work.
If you are subcontracting, your terms should be clear with you and your client. And I also advise those companies who may have had relations with Steam in government projects which are not declared to the ministry has no role.
This development highlights the need for vigilance and due diligence in government construction processes. Contractors are being urged to always be cautious when dealing with sensitive projects and ensure they are working with authorized personnel.
Now, the number of refugees in Uganda's 13 government-gazetted settlements continue to rise, creating pressure on available resources. According to the Commandant Refugee Settlement Officer of the Prime Minister Mugabe Geoffrey, the government's resources are insufficient to meet the growing demand. Let's hear more in this report.
Refugee fleeing violence, persecution and the impacts of climate change are not merely statistics. They are mothers, children and families seeking safety and a chance to rebuild their lives. As refugee numbers surge, services in settlements like Bidibidi and Chaka are increasingly overstretched.
When we are doing all this, we should not forget that the resource envelope is not sufficient. So, when organizations like Adra come up, we very highly become grateful.
To address this crisis, Adra Uganda, with a 40-year history of humanitarian work, has launched a new strategic plan to transform the lives of refugees over the next 5 years.
It's a bold commitment to transforming lives and empowering communities in Uganda. And of course, it is anchored on the purpose statement, the reason why we exist, that is to serve humanity so all may live as God intended. And so it is our responsibility to ensure that each and every person, each and every individual in the communities where we work and where we live God's intention was that man should not suffer.
Key priorities include improving livelihoods for both refugees and host communities, enhancing education, and addressing gender-based violence.
Which we are doing as Adra Uganda is to be able to build houses. So we move from a point where we have the refugees coming in, or people who are displaced, they have nothing, and then they're able to have something and they stay in safe homes. And this is what we are doing. And we are saying that we need to be able to ensure that they have resilience.
The Archbishop of the Seventh Adventist Church, Maka, emphasized the role of humanitarian organizations in boosting the well-being of people living in these communities. The main aspect is to transform lives to ensure that communities are happy as God intended.
It is not aid as of yesterday, where we come to give people handouts, but one where we need to come and empower people to be able to live a life so that they are able to continue on even with our withdrawal and with our exit.
The Ministry of Education and Sports applauded ADRA for its impactful initiatives in the education sector within these settlements.
It is clearly highlighted as a global initiative that aims to improve the quality of education for all. Ladies and gentlemen, it is interesting to note that ADRA, in addition to all the activities as you've already heard from the director in schools and communities, it stands out to the voice of the out of school and at-risk children throughout its low country programs.
Other key areas of focus for ADRA Uganda include providing training, resources, and support for smallholder farmers and vulnerable households, as well as constructing shelter for those in need. Justine Nakami, Emon Ngabo, UBC News.
And into the tourism sector, Uganda Wildlife Education Center has been ranked the best tourist destination in Africa after South Africa and Egypt. The chief warden, Uwek Conservation Area, David Musingo, says this has attracted hundreds of thousands of tourists flocking the facility to witness what nature has to offer.
Uganda Wildlife Authority's newly established Uwek Conservation Area is becoming the most preferred tourist destination on the African continent, after South Africa and Egypt. The center, which is currently attracting over 500,000 tourists a year, will now be the highest income-generating earner in Uganda.
People are visiting us, and we must appreciate not only Ugandans, but even in non-Ugandans are coming all over the region. You know, as you are aware, we have worked hard to develop Entebbe Zoo, or UWEC, and they have ranked us to be the best facility in East, Central, and West Africa. And because of that, many people are coming from the region, even from Europe, to come and visit us. So they're becoming popular. So money is coming in. So these facilities will sustain themselves.
Senior officials at UWEC assert that the expansion is to include the botanical gardens to attract more learners to the facility.
Money that accrues from tourism is sustainable. Other areas you can deplete resources, but not tourism. So I'm sure this sector is growing, people are coming, tourists are coming, and as they come, they bring in dollars.
It now remains to be seen whether UWEC's integration into the Mother Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities will propel it to greater heights for purposes of sustainability and animal welfare. Patias Karekona and Kennedy Chitandwe reporting for UBC News.
Now, the rehabilitation works of Kajeba Bridge, the oldest bridge connecting Kibali to Kikara in Hoima district, has commenced. The bridge had reportedly been abandoned for decades without any major repairs since its construction in 1972.
Where we have reached, we are indeed very happy. And we are very happy because now we have easy transport means bringing sand from Kibali, Kisita, it has been very expensive. You have to pass via Buyanja to come to Kara village.
Bridge connects to so many other areas, including Chankwa, including this bridge. So many villages. So to me, I'm happy that today we have done it, and of course we're getting resources from friends who have been kind enough to support us, because our people cannot be very productive when the roads they are using are unmotorable.
The road has been very bad, disturbing our people who die, but now we have seen that we have helped us and repair our road.
And for us, they have just put some little to add on this road. And we want to thank the people who has just given us the contribution for this road, and we want to thank all of them who has put something for us.
Humanitarian teachers have expressed concerns over the delayed enhancement of their salaries as promised by the government. It was with science teachers. With the above, they have given an ultimatum of 90 days to government come second term to address their concerns, or else they will organize for an industrial strike.
Teachers' leaders have announced an ultimatum of 90 days for the government to address their concerns before they organize an industrial strike. In 2022, the president approved a significant salary increment for science teachers, raising their monthly earnings to over 4 million Ugandan shillings in response to concerns raised by arts teachers. The president also promised to increase their salaries. However, while the increments were to be implemented in a phased manner, little progress has been made.
On the 5th July 2022, while responding to the UNATO's industrial action in black and white, you indicated that the enhancement of arts teachers in the public service would be included on the medium term in accordance to the approved pay plan by Cabinet in 2017. From 2018 up to today, 2025, the said plan according to the medium term has already elapsed.
The teachers argue that, despite their continuous efforts to fulfill their roles and advocate for their rights, their concerns have not been addressed.
Responsible ministries, we have submitted there our request early enough. Note kindly that we are not against the budget. We are not opposing our country's priorities. Neither can we become enemies to our own children, the learners and trainees who are in the classrooms and lecture rooms. They are our own children. We are fathers and mothers. However, our status will force us not to report to our workplaces in term 2 2025 year of our Lord.
Currently, graduate-level arts teachers in secondary schools earn 840,000 Ugandan shillings per month. Diploma holders earn 600,000, while tutors in primary colleges and lecturers in national teachers' colleges earn 780,000 shillings. The teachers claim that this pay disparity violates Article 21 of the Ugandan Constitution, as it constitutes discrimination in their line of duty.
According to Article 40 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, Clause 1, Paragraph B, Parliament shall make laws to make sure that people get equal pay for equal work, and by this time the Equal Opportunities Act 2007 was passed, which clearly stipulates different provisions regarding remuneration, non-discrimination according to gender, etc. When we are to turn to the non-science teachers, the non-science tutors in PTCs, these are people who are running programs for bachelors in primary, diploma and certificate in early childhood development, on top of them having to coordinate over 80 schools per CCT. They are supposed to make 3 visits per school per term. When you are to add this is already 240 visits they are supposed to make. The shocking part is that their pay was reduced from 1.2 million to 800,000.
They have also raised concerns over the costs incurred in implementing the new curriculum. The Uganda Professional Humanities Teachers Union have issued a 90-day ultimatum to the government.
We are giving them a grace period. By term 1, we are going back to class. We are going to teach. When term 2 starts, that will be roughly 4 months from now. We will have done the formalities, so that by term 2, we shall not report to work.
Here's your chance to win school fees for your child for a whole year. Just pay school fees using Momo. Dial *165 *80 hash. Select option 2 for school pay. Select option 1 to pay school fees. Enter the student number and amount and approve the transaction. You are now entered a draw to win school fees.
This is so much smoke. How you doing? My friends told me about an affordable solution. They're called Greenergy BioStore. Very clean and very safe. Let me call them right away.
Wow, can you believe these beans are ready in just 45 minutes?
Wow.
Greenergy ethanol stoves and fuel. Enjoy cleaner, healthier and affordable cooking. Cook your food in less than 2,000 shillings per day. No charcoal. Stop deforestation. We are looking for agents across Uganda. Greenergy by Bukenya.
Looking for instant excitement? The Uganda National Lottery Spin for Cash game is now available online. Wherever you are, you can join the excitement for just 500, 1,000 and 2,000 Uganda shillings. Don't miss out. Register now on www.nationallottery.go.ug for a chance to win your share of 2 billion instantly. What are you waiting for? Play Spin for Cash now, anytime, anywhere. Ituba is the proud operator of the Uganda National Lottery.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Agriculture is Uganda's economic backbone, employing about 70% of the working population and contributing 20% of the GDP. As the world becomes a digital global village, ICT has proven to increase productivity in the agricultural value chain. UNICEF, through its Strategic Plan 3, recognizes the importance of access and usage of ICT-based tools, information and knowledge for farmers by providing them the needed skills to live, learn, work and participate in a digital society.
We came up with a project which we took to UNICEF, and we're happy that UNICEF supported it. That project is called ICT for Farmers. What did we get from ICT for Farmers? We managed to skill up to 100,000 farmers.
Government of Uganda presents Post Buses in Uganda, operated by Posta Uganda. We specialize in professional transport, courier and vehicle hire services across Uganda. Our routes include Kampala Masaka Mbarara Kabale Chisoro, Kampala Mukono Jinja Mbale via Tirinyi Road Soroti Lira, and Kampala Luwero, Kamdini Gulu Kitgum. Our main offices are located at the Post Office Head Office on Kampala Road, with booking services available at counters 23 and 24 at the General Post Office. You can also book at designated district post offices along our routes. For inquiries or bookings, please contact us on 0751 684 184. Posta Uganda. We deliver trust.
Welcome to the world of business, and of course let us start off with oil and gas. Now, the East African crude oil pipeline, EACOP, has teamed up with Chambogo University to provide specialized training for students in the oil and gas industry. This partnership aims to build local expertise and prepare Uganda's youth for opportunities in one of the country's fastest growing sectors.
At a press conference held earlier today, the East African crude oil pipeline EACOP unveiled its partnership with Chambogo University aimed at training students in oil and gas operations. This initiative comes as Uganda wraps up efforts to capitalize on its vast oil reserves while prioritizing local capacity building.
I'm really pleased, Mr. ED, that we have come to this level to sign this MOU with EACOP so that Chambogo University graduates can also benefit from what you are providing in terms of capacity building, technology transfer.
According to EACOP officials, the program will focus on specialized training in pipeline engineering, environmental safety and resource management, ensuring that graduates meet international industry standards.
Build a skilled and knowledgeable workforce that can drive the oil and gas sector forward while uplifting the lives of many Ugandans. The collaboration we celebrate today focuses on two key initiatives. First, graduate training programs. It provides students and recent graduates with hands-on experience in their respective disciplines. I think we have a testimony from China.
Chambogo University Vice Chancellor noted that the partnership will include cutting-edge technology, internships and hands-on training to prepare students for the competitive global market.
I'm really glad that you agreed to involve Chambogo, and I want to thank the former Dean of Engineering, because this whole thing started. It has been ongoing for about the last 2 years. We've been talking about this and revising it.
The collaboration also addresses a critical need for local expertise in Uganda's oil and gas sector, a key component in the country's strategy to maximize national participation in the multi-billion-dollar industry.
1, employment and training of Ugandan citizens. Number 2, procurement of local goods and services. And finally, technology transfer and capacity building. In conclusion, I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to Chambogo University for embracing this partnership. I urge students and faculty to seize the opportunities this collaboration presents and make the most of this unique moment.
As the first cohort prepares to enroll, many are hopeful that this initiative will not only bridge the skills gap, but also create a pathway to employment in the sector. Sandra Kahonde, Jamel Sekaja, News Tonight.
The new year opens a new chapter for Ugandan businesses to thrive, says John Walugembe, the Executive Director, Federation of Uganda's Small Medium Enterprises. In an interview with Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, Walugembe urged government to get its priorities right as the country enters the hectic political season to ensure steady economic growth.
The Executive Director, Federation of Uganda Small and Medium Enterprises, John Walugembe, says 2024 was a year of cautious recovery for many businesses. While the country saw some positive developments, challenges such as energy costs and limited access to affordable credit remained.
We also see that government is continuing to be strict on inflation
making sure that it's below the 5% target. What you also see is that government is prioritizing investing in certain sectors like agribusiness, tourism development, mineral development, science, technology and innovation. So we think 2025 will be a good year.
Speaking of economic recovery, we sought for the small and medium enterprises' perspective on whether the recent announcement by the revenue body surpassing its half-year target by over Uganda shillings 300 billion implied a permanent rebound from a slump caused by the COVID-19 pandemic.
I wouldn't say it has fully rebounded. I think we are on the road to recovery. The economy is showing positive signs. But as to whether it has fully rebounded, it's not for me to tell, but I wouldn't be confident enough to say it has fully rebounded. But what is in no doubt is that the economy is doing much better than 2021, 2020.
As the country dives into a political season, a period of vote hunting and heavy government spending, Walugembe advises the policymakers on getting their priorities right rather than wasteful expenditures.
My advice to policymakers is to look at the issue of inflation. Around election years, sometimes there's excessive spending, which can translate into higher commodity prices and so on. So these are things that we should look out for to ensure that we contain, and we are confident that the central bank is up to the task. We should look at ensuring that we invest our resources in those areas that we think are super critical for the economy. We should also make it easier for people to start and grow businesses. And in that regard, I'm talking about the business environment, reducing the cost of doing business, making it easier for startups to thrive, making sure that the regulatory environment supports the growth aspirations of businesses and is not unnecessarily constrained.
On the conclusion of the Umeme concession, rampant power outages being experienced across the country and the electricity distribution transition to a government entity, Walugembe had this to say.
For us as consumers, we want to ensure that the transition is as smooth as possible. We want that the capacities that Umeme has built are not lost in the transition. We want to ensure that the efficiency that Umeme has built up is maintained. Already we are seeing some inefficiencies. If you need an electricity meter, it's now taking much longer. I don't know whether Umeme has lost morale and is simply doing it to show people that how you see it's like a wife whom you are sending away. She may cook late on purpose and stuff. So I don't know whether Umeme is doing these things in order to show how you see now you've asked us to leave. Look at what you're going to have. But my advice is that we should be laser focused on ensuring that this kind of lax way of working does not happen.
Dennis Igoa for UBC News.
Now, the Uganda Communications Commission has held a stakeholder meeting to discuss the implementation of permits for stage plays and public entertainment while showcasing the digital process of issuing the permits and its enforcement. This has, however, faced some criticism from several leaders in the entertainment sector. Let's hear more.
Under its mandate to regulate communication services in the country, including stage plays and public performances, UCC has officially rolled out a digital method of issuing licenses to event organizers within Uganda, which will cost 100,000 Ugandan shillings.
What is laughable? Some of the actors, especially in online channels, are saying, and you can imagine proudly, that we don't have the capacity to control them because they're on YouTube, we can't control YouTube. They're on WhatsApp, we can't control WhatsApp. They're on TikTok, we can't control TikTok. But in my Semto indigenous knowledge, we have a saying that the leopard didn't know how to kill until when people advised it.
Despite understanding the intention of the regulator, the Presidential Advisor on Creatives and President of the Uganda National Musicians Federation commented that imposing more fees on creatives might not solve the unethical crisis the sector is facing.
Requirements ezitusabibwa nnyingi. License yennyini gy'osaba mukama waffe tugisabwa nga tugenda mu police batusaba license yokutuukiriza okustaginga show basobole okutuwa obukuumi, naye ate ne batusaba license endala mu poliisi mwenyini ya counter terrorism eya clearance kujja ku clearinga dogs and all that, naye nga twasasudde dda police, remember, naye ne batusaba ya gye bayita city. Kakati bwe tuvaawo bayina ate era emisoso emirala gye tusasula clearance nga tusasula RPC, DPC, DISO, GISO n'abalala for deployment, kubanga bwe balina okudeployinga abo nabo tubasasula. Bwe tuvaawo tusasula local councils permit for stage show, eno yennyini nga gyosaba ate tugisasula mu local council. Okitegeera, tulina endala gye tusasula ya outdoor advertising for billboards and stickers, posters, etc. Mu KCC oba mu council tulekayo ne million 5 security guarantee.
In his capacity as a prominent events promoter, State Minister for Youth and Children Affairs Balam Barugahara reiterated that such a move ought to be approached in a holistic manner involving all authoritative bodies that govern creatives.
The promoters would like to have a meeting with you and make a proposal to you how they can become part of the collection agents or enforcing agents, the Promoters Association, together with the Musicians Association. Because Kenzo should know which artist is performing where. Otherwise, many artists are advertised that they will perform at such and such a given place. But then, when Mr. Kenzo doesn't know, when they ban things, they come to Mr. Kenzo, you're the president of musician, your musician failed to perform here, and I paid him money.
The stakeholder engagement climaxed with all parties, including Uganda Police, agreeing to have a closed-door meeting in order to agree on several parameters that do not suppress the sector, enabling creatives to thrive while addressing the unethical crisis at hand. Wadulo Arnold Mark, UBC News, in Kampala.
Here's your chance to win school fees for your child for a whole year. Just pay school fees using Momo. Dial *165 *80 hash. Select option 2 for school pay. Select option 1 to pay school fees. Enter the student number and amount and approve the transaction. You are now entered the draw to win school fees.
Now quickly into sports before we sign out. The 2025 Discovery Uganda Run, which is the third edition of the now much acclaimed athletics event, has started off with a road run that's attracting some of the nation's top runners. It started and ended at Kapchora Boma Grounds and is powered by Jacob Kiplimo in collaboration with Nike, Rosa Association Management and Uganda Athletics Federation. It was for the seniors over 21 kilometers, won by Abel Chebet of Police Athletics Club, among the men with his teammate Patricia Chekwemboy battering all other women. Uganda Wildlife Authority's Oscar Kibet or Chibet was men's first runner-up and Police Club's Victor Kwemboy's second runner-up, and then among the ladies Arua Club's Viola Chemos finished second and Police's Mercy Klein Chelengat returned third in the seniors category that contested for the 4.5 million cash prize. Action in the Discovery Uganda Run continues tomorrow with the road race at which several runners from all over the country are expected to contest for the 25 million shillings cash reward. There will also be a second race for athletes aged under 12 and 15, purposely to fulfill the major aim of this Discovery Uganda Run of talent identification. And that's it from us. Always a pleasure. My name is Patricia Lukoma. Good night.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Teens Crowd, an amazing off-the-hook youth program, brings you an array of fun, exciting, and educative segments you do not want to miss. From red carpet moments to proms, youth empowerment programs to youth gig vibes, and so much more, Teens Crown will get you hooked. Only on UBC TV every Saturday at 1:30 p.m. Don't miss.
You say that I blow his mind every time I'm activated. You just trying to catch a vibe. CC got you fascinated. Jump up on your brand new ride. BMW riding, baby. I ain't gonna tell you lies. That's just how
we run one of the biggest live audience TV shows in the land.
Can't do it, I got glory, glory.